Hello there, Tyrant here, and I just finished watching episode 22 of the Ancient Magus Bride. One day I'll figure out how to pronounce it. But, you know, Joseph has captured her and they've made an exchange to kind of, for him to finally kind of die and for Chisa to kind of break the curse of, well, dying. They literally, uh, ripped their eyeballs out. Like, holy shit. Like, wow. And it was really intense. But for the most part, that actually wasn't the most intense of this episode. The whole gravity of this episode was, um, Joseph kind of puts her in this like sleep state, like hypnotic state, where she remembers her past, and we get to see her as a child. If you didn't watch the three-part movie sequence that they put out after the whole death of her mother and disappearance of her father, this is a small little sequence of her as a child with her entire family. It's really sweet and really sad at the same time because it really puts to perspective that her life was, for the most part, normal. She had a mother and father who loved her, and she like did normal stuff. She took care of her little brother. Um, but there was still that inclination that there was still supernatural stuff happening around her, but there was her family to protect her. We also learned, with now 100% certainty, that her mother was also a slave buggy. I think that's how it's pronounced. Um, who surprisingly lived her life to this extent. Like, she's probably in her probably late 20s, early 30s. So, if you remember correctly, they mentioned that they don't live to be that old, that they die due to their excessive magic. So, seeing uh, having knowledge that one survived this long, interesting. But then it kind of did, like, what was her husband really doing? Why did he leave? Like, what was all this very like hidden stuff happening? But leaving that, because that in itself kind of ends with the door closing on us. Like, we just don't get anything after that. Um, Maybe he was just fed up. I have no idea. But going back, so he does end up leaving them, you know, which puts all this strain on her mother and her, which makes sense since there's two very heavily like potent creatures looking for these things. So now it's just Chise and her mom, and her mother is, and it's herself. Her character, from what we can tell, is a very fragile character. She's doing her best to for both her and her daughter, but she can only take so much that she, at the end, just kind of breaks down, like emotionally, like she just can't take it. It's kind of hard when not only the world is hitting you, like rent, bills, and stuff like that, but also the supernatural world's like out to get you, and like, holy shit, you can only imagine. And then you start hearing voices, like, um, it led to one of Chisa's like strongest memories, where her mother just literally tries to like strangle her, and that has been one of those things that we've seen throughout the season. Like, this series has been very like very tough on Chise. Like, her character is like 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 shit, like horribly, like, not she's not a shitty character, it's just she had a shitty life. But we've seen that it wasn't all that bad. It's just it's been locked away because of that very traumatic event, you know and you don't want to remember anything past that. But this kind of does lead to a good like resolve within Chise, kind of fully like realizing what happens, because as a child you can't really understand what's happening at that point. Like, it's not right. I'm not gonna say that it was acceptable for that, but now that she's matured, she like can see that her mother cared for her. She tried her best, but she let everything around her kind of overtake her, and that's what led to her her rash reaction and then her suicide. Um, so yeah, we'll see. So now it's time to kind of like the episode ended in such a way where like it's weird. Like Joseph in itself is a character that apparently is doomed to live forever, always consuming things to continue living and stuff like that. So like okay, interesting. So if he's absorbed multiple creatures, and it seems like a little piece of them has always stayed with him, and it's now gonna be Cheese's turn to kind of do something about that. So we'll see about that because it kind of leaves Cheese just kind of holding down Joseph in such a way, and like, oh my god, it's like payback time. So yeah, so this was a very deep episode. If you just kind of took it and just watched it, it's like I said, it was very intense. Um, it's been a while since we got such a kind of a flashback kind of way, not in the far as flashback in like overall scenes, but more of a flashback of her past and a reasonably good resolution for her overall like arc of who she is and what got her to this point. Um, so yeah. So now we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens next time. So thanks again for watching. Until next time.